Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Zakaflah. I'm from 4B Extensive Reading, and today I want to review an autobiography book, one of the Indian democratic hero, and has a big role to free India from British colonization. His name is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, or commonly called and popular as Mahatma Gandhi. He was born on Porandar, October 2nd, in 1869, and died on January 30th, 1948. He was an Indian lawyer, an anti-colonial nationalist, and a political ethnicist who employed non-violent resistance to lead the successful campaigns for India's independence from British rule. Okay, the title of this autobiography is "The Story of My Life" by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, or M.K. Gandhi, published by the Navajivan Publishing House on July 1955. And this book contains about 14 chapters, and each chapter have many subtitles on it, and 107 pages. Okay, let's go straight to the autobiography. Mahatma Gandhi is a son of Karamchand Gandhi, who a political figure in Porbandar, and served as a Diwan of Porbandar, Rajkot, Wakinir. And Mahatma Gandhi's mother, Putlibai Gandhi, was a very religious woman, and she had a great impact on Mahatma Gandhi. Putlibai Gandhi had a great impression on Gandhi. It was her thought of saintliness which impacted on Gandhi's brain. As a son from a family that followed strong religious traditions, Gandhi grew up upholding many of the noble values of Hinduism, such as empathy for all living beings, abstinence from eating animal flesh, and abstaining from alcohol and promiscuity. And on the other hand, Gandhi also opposed some Hindu tradition which he considered conservative, such as the Indian Hindu caste system, which classifies human degrees, and also the tendency of the surrounding environment to limit association with the other religions. The young Gandhi had the courage to reason with moral concepts within himself, breaking old-fashioned values which, according to him, that did not refer to Dharma, upholding interreligious tolerance, and making friends from other religions such as Islam and Sikh. In May 1833, Mahatma Gandhi, who is still 13 years old, married Kasturbai Mukherjee, who 14 years old, in an arranged marriage by his parents. Not long after her marriage, she continued her studies at Samaldas College in Bhavnagar, Gujarat, and Gandhi himself continued his study at University College London, majoring in law. In 1891, Gandhi was forced to return to India because he heard the news that his mother had died. After a period of mourning, Gandhi also tried to start his career as a lawyer in his homeland, but failed miserably due to his shy nature and insecurity to speak in public. In 1893, he decided to develop his career as a lawyer in South Africa. One day, in a train in Pietermaritzburg, Gandhi was discriminated against by Europeans, which was forcibly expelled by being dragged and thrown out of the train. Gandhi was also beaten by a chariot driver just because he refused to get off the give a priority white passenger seat. This bad experience made Gandhi have a very persistent attitude, principles, determination, and commitment to improve the situation and problem in front of his eyes. While in South Africa, he developed the idea of how to fight European forms of imperialism and liberate people of color from discrimination and colonization to be able to build an independent country. Gandhi honed his argumentative skills and understood how Western imperialisms work. He also began to build a mass power base by contributing greatly to the holding of a Congress for citizens of Indian descent in a city called Natal to unite political voices and foster a sense of unity among fellow citizens of Indian descent. This led to Gandhi being attacked in 1897 by white protesters. Although this congressional movement is arguably less successful, it has received enough attention in South Africa. The form of violence for the sake of violence that Gandhi experienced did not necessarily ignite his emotions to carry out a violent rebellion. In 1906, in Johannesburg, Gandhi applied a principle of resistance against discrimination and colonialism called Satyagraha, which is a form of non-cooperative protest without violence. Gandhi's influence on the Indian-derived community was further proven when the Second Boer War broke out, which is a military conflict between the British Empire and the Republic of South Africa. During the conflict, Gandhi led a volunteer movement to form a medical unit and ambulance driver consisting of citizens of Indian descent. The contribution of Gandhi and other volunteers finally succeed in stealing the hearts of the British government toward citizens of Indian descent. After his struggle in South Africa, Gandhi returned to his homeland to carry a mission of change for the people of India. Gandhi started the struggle in a simple way, namely establishing an ashram by teaching the concept of Satyagraha and Ahimsa, which are essentially resistance movements by peaceful means without violence. On March 12, 1930, Gandhi carried out a long march of tens of thousands of his supporters along the 240 miles to the sea coast of Dundee City to boycott the production of a very high salt tax. Gandhi's simple act sparked hundreds of thousands of people to start harvesting salt and distributing it as an independent commodity outside the British government. The boycott of salt production made British salt factories and trade chaos. Within a month, the British arrested Gandhi and imprisoned 60,000 people who did not resist at all. And on May 20, 2000, adherents of Gandhi's principle of non-violent violence approached the door of the Darsana salt mine to take their right to harvest the salt. The peaceful demonstration ended with the beating by British soldiers of thousands of civilians unmilitarily without any form of resistance. This incident became the spotlight of the international community, who criticized the barbarity of the British government due to mounting international pressure. In March 1931, Britain released all political prisoners, recognized the right to boycott Indian clothing, and lifted the ban on the production of homemade salt. Gandhi continued his internal struggle to eradicate discrimination against the lowest caste Hindus, Dalits, who for thousands of years were considered unclean, homeless, and indigent in Indian Hindu culture. On September 12, Gandhi resumed his fast-to-death vows to urge Hindu religious leaders to form an agreement to abolish the caste system. Gandhi's stubborn shocked the whole country, even the world. Gandhi's immense influence made Hindu leaders start accepting Dalits whom they previously considered unclean in their temples, only because of the influence of Gandhi. The conservative culture of Hinduism for thousands of years in India underwent major reforms. After World War II ended, the Indian public was increasingly convinced that in the near future, Britain would leave India. On that occasion, India's Muslim liberation fight, including Ali Jinnah, demanded that India be divided based on the religious majority, where the areas occupied by the Muslim majority became the states of West Pakistan and East Pakistan, or now we call it Bangladesh. This was actually not approved by Gandhi, but he relented in order to prevent a civil war. Unfortunately, clash between Hindu and Muslim groups have already spread in some areas. Gandhi decided to travel in different parts of India, starting with the poorest, where most of the riots and brutal massacres took place. Village after village, Gandhi visited to face the mission of peace in every group clash. Overall, Gandhi has visited around 50 villages and is quite successful in being a peacemaker between the Muslims and Hindus in various religions. And in the January 30th in 1948, and is the peak of this public sentiment. And when Gandhi walked through the park to a prayer ceremony, Gandhi was shot in public at close range by extremist Hindus because Gandhi was seen as overly defensive of Muslim. So the he accused that he took side on Muslim in India and Pakistan at that time, and Gandhi died in that day. And during his lifetime, Gandhi took out of fasting to stop civil clash 17 times and was imprisoned 12 times during his lifetime. Okay, so the death of Mahatma Gandhi is because the Hindus extremists who kill him because he spread his culture and his lesson about the peaceful. Okay, maybe that's all from me, from the story of my life and autobiography from Mahatma Gandhi. Sorry for all my mistake, and I end it as Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.